Alright, Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince.
Spoiler, it is Snape.
It is Snape, yeah. Again, we operate under the assumption you've seen everything, you know everything. So,
If you haven't seen Harry Potter, what are you doing here?
Dumbledore dies at the end. No need to even say spoilers. This one I didn't see again in the cinema. It just was completely off my radar. I think it was supposed to come out at a certain point, and they pushed it back like 6 or 9 months. And so I just never ended up seeing it, because when we first started talking, we watched it together, and at the same time, you in Norway, me in Wales, and it was the first time I'd seen it, I'm pretty sure. And so it almost felt like it wasn't a movie. Like there was no hype for me. Didn't see any of the trailers. Like, it was just completely, wasn't even thinking about it. And this time I wasn't in a depressy state or anything. I just didn't even know that it was coming out. I knew it was coming out, but it wasn't really, again, on my radar. So I keep saying this, but I loved the book, and it was a really exciting time when this book came out, because a big event happens in Dumbledore dying at the end, and there was like a website called dumbledoresnotdead.com where people were posting all these theories and like stripping the book apart like paragraph by paragraph, and like looking at all the possible clues as to what could mean this, what could mean that. At the end of the book you see his funeral, and there was like some talk about the phoenix and all that, and whether the phoenix was symbolizing that he was still alive, and the broken,
It would rise from the ashes.
yes, the broken mirror that Harry had, and he maybe saw an eye in it and things like that. So again, much like Sirius, there was this kind of false hope that perhaps he was still alive. Of course, he was killed, although we do kind of get him again in the next one. So we always say, well, I think most people say this series gets darker as it goes on. I think that Order of the Phoenix is darker than Half-Blood Prince, now that I watch it. There's a lot of humour in this one. There's a lot of lightness to it, which I really appreciate, because it's the last time they can do it, really. A lot of it is to do with the kind of love triangle with Ron and Lavender Brown and Hermione, and it's a bit more pronounced than it is in the book. But I get why they did that, because they really want to hammer home to the audience that it's going to be Ron and Hermione kind of thing. Whereas what are you doing? Oh, okay. We'll leave that up to the complete mystery of the viewer as to what that really was. Whereas the opposite can be said for Harry and Ginny. In the book, it's a lot more pronounced. In the film, it's a lot more understated. It's just kind of there. It is what it is, kind of thing. And I like that, actually. I think it was done well. What do you think of the whole pairings of those 4 characters, Ron, Hermione, Harry, and Ginny, in general?
Now that Ginny's grown up, it's okay, I guess.
Sure.
But because in Chamber of Secrets she was like this little girl, and when she sees Harry and she's all like, starstruck and stuff like that. But now that she's grown up and she's so tall and stuff, it seems more okay.
Well, yeah, she's only a year younger than him.
Harry and Ron.
Harry and Ron? Whoa!
No,
Whoa there!
Hermione and Ron. Harry and Ron makes more sense.
You got nice skin, Ron.
Yeah. I don't know. It's I guess it makes sense for one of them to end up together. It's a little cliche, maybe. But the way that it happens so slowly, how like in the Goblet of Fire, where you can tell that there's some jealousy there, and she gets upset with Ron because he didn't ask her out.
Yeah.
Like those little things,
Yeah.
Like it's not just friendship. You can kind of tell.
Yeah.
I don't know. Ginny and Harry, yeah, fine, I guess.
Because I think
Harry and Ron, though.
I think J.K. Rowling has said that she wished she'd made it Harry and Hermione, like way after the fact.
They're a better match, I think.
I don't know. I like
her and Ron.
I like it. I like that it's an odd.
It's gonna end a divorce.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't think it is. No.
Honestly, Ron, do you ever stop eating?
See, they're like
They're already a married couple.
Exactly. So this one we have another great British actor coming in. Oh, what's his name? How can I forget his name? He's a great actor. Jim Broadbent coming in to play Horace Slughorn. I imagine Slughorn so completely differently as far as the physical appearance, but the mannerisms are so great. I love that character. This guy who is just obsessed with kind of collecting students.
It's so weird, isn't it, when you think about it?
It's very weird, but there are those people who kind of covet that kind of thing, and are very much they leech themselves towards fame and attention and all that kind of stuff, and obviously Harry would be like the prime kind of student to collect, which is what Dumbledore's plan is. One thing about the film I've never liked, and it's a very small detail, is at the beginning when Dumbledore picks up Harry, and he says, "Take my arm, Harry." And Harry just kind of hesitates, and he goes, "Do as I say." And just never felt like Dumbledore that. Like, it just didn't feel like he'd ever command like that in such a stern way. And a very, very minor nitpick, but it didn't feel right. And I love the aspect of the memories going into the history of Voldemort. And I just wish, like, who's going to care if the movie's a little longer? I wish we'd seen more of the memories, because there's just so much more.
And the boy acting, the boy who is Tom Riddle, the actor, he's great.
You mean the teenage Tom Riddle?
Yes.
Yes, I agree. I think he's fantastic.
So creepy and gross and sleazy. Is that a word? You know, there's something about him. You want to just slap that kid.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
And there's just something really off with him.
Yes, off. That's a great way to put it. Yeah.
And you just like, no, you know. And the scene between him and Slughorn, the real one.
Yeah.
Great, because you can tell like Slughorn is scared of him.
Yes, exactly.
There is fear, like not just of the kid, but like of what this conversation is gonna.
Yeah.
Like the consequences of it.
Yeah, it's like when he says, "Oh, this is purely academical, isn't it?" You know, but you can tell and look in his face that he knows it's more than that.
Why would you consider killing more than one person? You know.
Right.
So why would you consider killing one?
Yeah.
And he's saying you.
Yeah.
He doesn't say one. Like, why would one consider killing more than one person?
Yeah.
But he says you, doesn't he?
Yeah.
I love the scene when Harry has had the liquid luck.
Very good.
And he surprises Slughorn, and Slughorn doesn't scream. He just goes, "Oh!"
Yeah. Yes.
It's so realistic.
Yes.
And then when he's ready to walk off, and he goes, "Harry!" And he goes, "Sir!" I love that scene, and just like the pincers.
Yeah.
It's just so funny.
I think that Radcliffe, he really gets comedic timing down great in this film. And apparently, if I remember correctly, he doesn't like this film as far as his own performance because he was drinking at the time and was either drunk or kind of hungover.
So that was Ron.
No, Daniel Radcliffe.
Really?
Which makes sense in some of those scenes. But I don't know how drunk he was or if it was just a case of being hungover. But yeah, so that's something that always jumps out at me. But I think he's great in the film as far as that stuff goes. And I think I was saying in the last video that it felt like Ron was very out of the picture in the last one. So you get a lot more of Ron in this one, which is good.
Yeah, and then he's kind of like out of the picture literally in the last scene, isn't he?
Yeah, but I like that. That fits who Ron is, I think. That it was very suitable.
Especially considering what's going to happen in the next few.
Yeah, true.
It's kind of like a taste of what's going to happen.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, but I like the whole love thing and the him with the Quidditch thing. You know, where he thought he'd drunk the liquid luck and he turns out to be brilliant. I love that in the book when I think Malfoy starts this song about how Weasley is like, I forget what this whole song about how he's just like he's terrible, he's going to ruin everything. And then Harry hears them singing the song after the Quidditch match. He's like, "Oh God, what did Ron do?" And then he hears the song, and everyone's chanting, "Weasley is our king." And so it's like they've changed the song.
Wait, so Harry wasn't there?
I don't think he was for some reason, and we don't see him in the film anyway in the Quidditch match. And so I love.
No,
it.
Yeah, that's true. You see Hermione and you see Luna.
Yeah.
And crazy girl. What was her name?
Lavender.
Lavender.
Yeah. And I just love Slughorn, and he just cracks me up. He's just his mannerisms are so funny, and particularly, I don't know what it is, I've always found it so funny when someone gets someone's name wrong. There's just something about it, and I think in one of the other books, when Percy Weasley joins the Ministry, I think the minute someone keeps calling him Weatherby, which just cracked me up to no end. So this is kind of the same thing where he's like, "Good to see you, Wallenby." It's just like I don't know what it is. It's not even that funny, but just the way he delivers it in such this offhand, like when he spills the butterbeer on Hermione, he's like, "Oh, all hands on deck, Granger!" Like just like he's just so it's really hard to describe. It's a certain British kind of person.
True.
That he just captures it so perfectly. And yeah, so the memories I think are done really well. Like I love how it portrays the memory that's been tampered with. Like it's really good. But there's so much more they could have dived into, like especially Voldemort's parents, his mother. That whole stuff is so good.
I gotta read this book.
And it makes so much more sense as well. Like it really paints the picture of why Voldemort is the way he is. But I understand there's only so much time. And my biggest issue with this film was always at the end when Harry watches Dumbledore get killed by Snape. Because in the book, and I know I'm that guy, I keep saying it, Dumbledore, it's not explicitly stated, but Harry can't move. He's under his invisibility cloak. He's right there next to them.
Really?
And he can't move. Like he's trying to move himself. So to me, I feel like Harry would have stepped in regardless of what Dumbledore had said, and he would try and save him.
Yeah.
But watching it now, for some reason, just the way they laid it out, where Harry was underneath and Dumbledore was saying, like, "Trust me."
He swore. He gave his word.
He gave his word.
Listen to Dumbledore, and he said,
and it kind of happened so fast anyway. I think it still works. So I kind of have let that go now, which is really nice. But I do feel like that just kind of sealed all together, where Harry just couldn't move, and
what did Dumbledore put a spell on him?
That's the only explanation. It's never stated, but it's like he needed him to be there to see it, and also to make sure he didn't get involved, or get himself in harm's way, which would have been terrible. So it kind of, but yeah, I think it works the way that they laid it out. Now that I've watched it a few more times, and just yeah. And I like the music a lot. I really like the music in this one. It's especially in the more lighter scenes. It's very bouncy and stuff and fun, which again is the last time they can really have fun moments or long stretches where it seems fun, And I really think Tom Felton, is it, who plays Draco, did a really good job.
Yeah.
Portraying easily the most involved Malfoy storyline we get.
Yeah.
Anything you'd like to say about this one? I haven't already touched on. We haven't really talked about the end that much, but I think it's a very well done sequence with the death of Dumbledore.
There was something I was going to say, but that was like 5 minutes ago, and I completely forgot what it was.
Okay, hopefully it'll come back to you, maybe not. The whole book thing is interesting with the Half-Blood Prince. I love the scene where we see Snape's house, if that is even Snape's house, I think it is. And in the beginning, when he makes the unbreakable vow, because...
well, yeah, it must be his house, because it says, one mustn't touch what isn't ours.
Yeah.
Or something to Bellatrix, or he just says Bella even, and she's just like a kid.
In fact, I think it is, because I think we see that location again when we see the him and Lily when they were growing up as kids, her and Snape. But in the book, when they open with that scene that lets you know that Snape is with Voldemort, it's like, holy shit, right at the beginning. Obviously, this is operating under the someone who hasn't seen everything. So it's kind of cool. I really love the setting, the rain, and the kind of the way it was shot and everything.
The music is great.
The music.
When they're doing the unbreakable vow.
Yep.
Vow.
The unbreakable wow. I think this is one of the best ones, actually.
Oh yeah, the scene when Harry touches the ring. And he sees all these
oh yes
snippets of Voldemort stuff.
Yeah.
And then he does the neck twist again.
Yeah, really nice.
The connection there means more now.
Exactly, because
that he's also a Horcrux.
Exactly.
Ooh, spoiler. But yeah, like I love that part, and then you see like the way Dumbledore looks at him as well after he touched the ring. Yeah, it's really good. I
And
think Voldemort. Did I say Voldemort? I mean Dumbledore.
yeah,
The way Dumbledore looked at him, and I think that he is acting, like his acting is really, really good in this movie as well.
yeah.
Especially when he's being tortured by that water stuff.
Yeah, that's another part that left such an impression reading it for the first time because he's properly crying and pleading with Harry and stuff. And
Kill me.
yeah, I think that scene is so well written in the book that you could never compare with the film. So it's always just not as good for me. It's very well done. I think the whole stuff with the cave and the by the sea is really cool and really well done.
I think they could have dug into it even more.
Yeah, that's what
Like
I think.
I think they should have really shown like more pain in Dumbledore.
Yeah.
I feel it a little bit, but I feel like they could have tortured him more.
Yeah.
Because you grow to love Dumbledore throughout all the movies, and then seeing him in pain would pain you as well if you're a
Yes.
normal person.
Yeah.
Uh, but I don't know. It's just too short. Like I feel like that could have been longer,
Mhm.
and there should have been more like. I don't know. He should have cried and like probably. Yeah, I don't know.
That's what he does in the book. So again, it felt like, again, like you said, they could have dug into it a bit more
Yeah.
deeper. And one of my favorite moments of the whole series is when they get into the cave. Dumbledore cuts his hand, and then they have to get into the main entrance. They have to swim through this tunnel, I think. And I think Dumbledore holds onto Harry while he swims. And Harry's like, "Are you alright, Professor," or something? And he says, "Of course I am, Harry, I'm with you." And it's just like a really sweet moment that I don't know how they would have worked it into the film, but it's I get kind of particular over those little
Is that when they're on
lines
their
of
way
dialogue
in or out?
into the cave.
That's
Oh wait, no, it might be on the way out.
Yeah, because why
Yes.
would he hold on to?
That's it. It must be on the way out. Yeah, but yeah, regardless, I think it's just a great little moment that yeah, and actually would have worked. I think if they put it in as they're leaving because they just kind of turn up and stuff. Of course, in the book, there's the Battle of Hogwarts, which they don't do, which I understand because the next one is also a big battle at Hogwarts. So I can see why they didn't do that because it just would have made the ending too cluttered, and you wouldn't focus on Dumbledore's death enough. So I understand that. But then it kind of makes the whole Draco thing a bit weird because he's trying to get the Death Eaters to get into Hogwarts for the whole film, and then they just turn up to watch Dumbledore get killed, and then they leave. It's not this big battle like it was supposed to be. And then
Well, they do burn down Hagrid's,
they do, but
and they trash the hall.
yeah, they do a little bit, but they don't like level half the castle like they do. But another they added a sequence when at the Weasley's house when they turn up, and that just it just feels like it's tacked on because I mean it is. It doesn't happen in the book, but
Oh, it doesn't.
no, not to say that that's a bad thing. I'm all for them adding stuff.
Well, I haven't read the book, but I think it's a good one because you love that house and you love the Weasleys.
Yeah, I guess, but I think, and again, I'm just being too precious over the books. The Weasley house is supposed to be this like sacred place, like there's a protection over it where they can't be harmed, you know, and then
True.
it gets broken at the beginning of the next
you
one.
mentioned that before.
So, but it just felt tacked on as a way to kind of get more of the Death Eaters kind of thing. It's done well, you know, it's a good scene and stuff, but just felt a little bit added in there.
I just keep thinking though, like, Dumbledore cleaned up, what's his name, the Professor Slughorn's house.
Yeah.
Just by waving his wand, and then all the destruction was fixed. And I'm just thinking, well, the Weasley's house could probably be fixed as well.
Yeah.
It's just a little bit of bag check and then it's done. I don't know.
So yeah, Half-Blood Prince. I love it. I think it's a great film. It's a great stage setter for the finale, I think. I love the whole Horcruxes storyline. It's probably my favorite part of the whole story. It brings so much more, and again how they went through everything and Dumbledore died and there wasn't a Horcrux there. Like it's such a sting at the end. You know, this is like the Empire Strikes Back of Harry Potter. It's like there's a massive loss at the end and there just seems like there's no hope. And then we go to the last story. So I'm going away for a little bit, a few days, not as long as Connie went away for. So I'm looking forward to getting back to this. again, I'll be posting these way after, so I don't know why I'm even mentioning this, but I'm really intrigued to see the last two again. I love part one. That's one of my favorites. It's a proper road movie, which is what I love about the last book. But the second part is great, but I never fully loved it. And yeah, we'll see how much I can hold back on that when we get to it. But I'm excited to see that one because it's the one I've seen the least. Maybe only 2 times.
I don't remember much from it. I remember a dragon.
I mean, it's really, it's part 2 is really like a 2 hour long third act. You know, it's just a massive ending.
I remember like little snippets. I remember dragon in the bank place.
Yeah, we open with that. Yeah.
I remember, Dobby dying was probably the end of part 1.
That was the end of part 1. Yeah.
And I remember when they get to Hogwarts and everything is just shite.
Yeah.
It's not a happy place anymore. I remember Harry dying and him seeing Voldemort when he's still like a creepy little baby thing underneath a bench, and then there's Dumbledore, and then he's there again. He comes back somehow, and then there's just this fight between them, and it's very short. And I remember Mrs. Weasley going all Sigourney Weaver. Get away from her, you bitch. She doesn't say bitch, does she?
Yeah.
She says bitch.
Yep.
So it's basically the same thing.
Basically the same thing.
Yeah, she's saying the same thing then. She does go Sigourney Weaver. Yep. All alien on her. And Fred dying. And I remember the beginning, obviously, where they take the Polyjuice potion and everyone's Harry.
That's in part 1.
That's in part 1.
Yeah.
So see, part 2, it's like...
I'm really looking forward to getting to Snape dying.
Oh yeah, and Snape dying.
Harry seeing Snape's memory, going down to the forest, seeing his parents and Sirius again, walking in to die and getting killed.
He sees his parents and Sirius again. See, I've forgotten that.
He uses the resurrection stone. And I loved that scene, and I've only seen it twice, so I'm looking forward because it's such an emotional one. Everything after that I'm not too fussed about because, again, I have mixed feelings on the whole Voldemort death. And... yes, one last...
Oh, and the hug. I will never forget the hug.
Oh my god, it's going to be amazing. I can't wait for that.
And I remember... why is it always me?
Neville.
Mm-hmm. I think his teeth are better in this one.
Yeah, they kind of let him settle into his more natural look in this one.
Because it's
in this one, in the next one.
What? Is that Neville?
Yeah. And one last thing, we get to see the Weasleys' joke shop in Diagon Alley in this one, Half-Blood Prince. And I love how you kind of see it against like the rest of Diagon Alley, which is pretty much abandoned and deserted, and just shows you how much they're dedicated to kind of trying to keep people happy. But also, they're probably only in the film for like 20 seconds. I didn't even think about that.
Oh, you see them when they're looking at their house burning down.
True. They are. That's right. Yeah, true. So they're in 2 scenes, but they're barely in it, which is a shame because I really love those characters. Gallons. So really, when they leave Hogwarts in Order of the Phoenix, that's kind of the last real substantial... Well, no, I know you get to see him again in the beginning of part 1, where they save Harry and stuff. Saint-like, holy. Anyway, right, so we're just rambling now about the next one, so really looking forward to watching the last 2.
It's funny, because after we watched this one, and before part 1 came out, you told me I had to read the book.
Yes, we read it together.
And so I got the book. Mm-hmm. I hadn't read any other Harry Potter book. The first Harry Potter book I ever read was book 7.
Yeah, and we kind of read it together, like, kind of keeping vaguely in the same chapters.
Did we?
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
I kind of read to keep up with you and stuff. And
yeah, I guess we did, like everything else.
That was really nice.
Yeah, and then I got hooked on it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I stopped.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like the other books, I just listened to Stephen Fry.
Not a bad way to do it.
No, I will continue doing that. Actually, I will get back to the Goblet of Fire.
Yeah.
And listen to that all over again.
Mm-hmm.
Turn.
So that's it for this one. Thank you for watching.
Ta-ta.
Ta-ta and farewell.
It's alright by me. Apart from the fact he throws cans of Carlin into a tree. Yeah, he's really cool. Yeah, he's really cool. But he's not quite as cool as you, 'cause